Monday, February 6. Abram, the father of the faithful. God called Abram to leave his homeland and his kinfolk and to go to a land that he would show him. Thus began the bloodline of the Messiah. Though details aren't given, Abram had to leave the land of his birth and early years. Surely it wasn't an easy decision, and no doubt he gave up some earthly pleasure and conveniences to do it. Read Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3. How were all the families of the earth blessed as a result of this promise and its acceptance? Genesis 12, beginning at verse 1. Now the Lord had said to Abram, "Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." This was a major life-changing event for Abram and his family. By faith, we read in Hebrews 11:8, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive as an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. Ellen White writes in Patriarchs and Prophets, page 126, Abraham's unquestioning obedience is one of the most striking evidences of faith to be found in all the Bible. End of quote. Most of us would not be eager to leave our homeland and our friends and family members, but Abram did so. Abram was satisfied to be where God wanted him to be. As strange as this may seem, Abram, Isaac, and Jacob never received that land in their lifetimes, yet they remained faithful to God anyway. Read Hebrews chapter 11, verses 8 to 13. What is the relevant message to us here? Hebrews 11, beginning at verse 8. By faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive as an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. By faith he dwelt in the land of promise, as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. But he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. By faith Sarah herself also received strength to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was past the age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore from one man, and him as good as dead, were born as many as the stars of the sky in multitude, innumerable as the sand which is by the seashore. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, were assured of them, embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. Abram was known as a prince by those living around him. He was known to be generous, brave, hospitable, and a servant of the Most High God. His witness for God was exemplary. By the grace of God, we are heirs with Abraham. Just as Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. Therefore, know that only those who are of faith are sons of Abraham. That's from Galatians 3, verses 6 and 7. And then verse 29, and if you are Christ's, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. With Abraham, as with Noah, we see someone making a major life-changing decision as a result of obeying God. And so to finish today, read 2 Corinthians 4, verse 18. How should the message of this verse impact the kind of spiritual decisions that we make? How did both Moses and Abraham follow that same principle? 2 Corinthians 4, verse 18. While we do not look at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful. And here is a disclaimer. Contents of these lessons are not intended to be financial advice, but is general commentary based on biblical principles. The reader is encouraged to seek competent professional advice which will suit their particular personal situation.